All right. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the FF Face Off. And yes, we are doing our Week 13 reaction show here. We do have one more game, of course, Monday Night Football, Giants and the Patriots. So, maybe that comes up a little bit here if you guys are in need of as the phrase has been coined by many of folks, a little Monday Night Miracle. Always think of Matthew Berry when I hear that. But if that comes up, we could talk about that. We have to have some tough conversations about some players that you drafted in the first or second round and might not know what to do with moving forward. We'll get to all that stuff. We'll answer your questions. But yeah, that's it. I will tell you guys, feel free to hit the like button. We appreciate that immensely. Helps us out a ton. Takes you all of about 2 seconds, if that. Depends how fast you click. My name is Michael Hopp. You can follow me on X at the FF Realist. I am joined by Ben, who can be followed at FF Rabbit Dad. Ben, buddy, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I had a good Thanksgiving day. I had a good time with some family, and once won a bet here and there, and ate a lot of food. So that was who doesn't like Thanksgiving?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I had said Pete and I did a Thanksgiving show on Thanksgiving morning, a little start sit action, but I had said that Thanksgiving was the Rodney Dangerfield of holidays because it gets no respect. Because everybody's waiting for it to end so they can hurry up and they can get to Christmas and want to hang up. And by the way, before we get into stuff, what is the enthusiasm? What is the inspiration to cover every quarter inch of your yard with Christmas lights? It's obnoxious. You got to take that down at some point.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I know at least so what I do Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday is I drive a truck around delivering packages. And this year I have a new route, and it's in the rich neighborhood where everybody's got twice as much stuff as everybody else. You've got those ones that you can tune into a radio station and the lights go along to it. I mean, it's a little much for me. I know it's something I'm going to take my wife through in the next couple of weeks because she loves that crap. So,
well, yeah, well that kind of stuff for you. I mean, you're not hanging the lights. Happy wife, happy life.
No,
you
good Lord, no.
You could take a ride.
Well, and they don't do it either. They pay a bunch of people to do it. Every single one of them, I guarantee. Oh boy, that would be the job to have.
That's true. That's a fair point. All right, so again, we'll get some people trickling in. You guys can feel free to ask any questions that you might have, but I feel like let's just get into this now because I feel like we're going to get access. We're going to talk about a couple players we need to have tough conversations about. Let's start with the quarterback position because it is the quarterback position. It's the quote unquote most important part of the position, most important part of a team. Lamar Jackson. You drafted him as one of your top quarterbacks. He has come up lame. You have to imagine something is going on with Lamar with his injuries that we don't know about. I mean, these last few games, 6.5 points last on Thanksgiving, 7.2 the week prior, 4.7. I mean, what is your level of concern here if you're someone who's trying to make the playoffs or if you're looking ahead to the playoffs? Are you putting him out there or is this like a matchup dependent spot now?
I mean, I think it's just a bench until further notice. I mean, he had the prime matchup this last week against Cincinnati. And I even looked at it in advance, it's like just looking through it and talking about it. And I wrote part of an article about Lamar Jackson in particular. If he can't get us through at least a decent performance on Thursday on this last week, it's no go from here on out. I actually dropped him in one of my guillotine leagues in favor of just picking up another active quarterback for when Drake May is on bye next week. So
that's right, because last week is this next week coming up is our last week with buys. The 49ers, the Panthers, and the two teams playing tonight, the Giants and the Patriots, will all be on bye. So, yeah, I mean, and Lamar this week, I'm pulling this up here, the Ravens go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's to check what kind of points they're allowing. But either way, I mean, if I have the right matchup, I'm not putting them out. I mean, Steelers are allowing what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're allowing the ninth most points, but like you said, the Bengals are a few spots ahead of them. That would have been the prime play right there. I mean, so Yeah, I think I'm officially at the point where I am now benching him as long as it is for a proper option. I mean, can you think of a limit of like where you'd go in this one? Uh, like I'm just
Yeah,
looking here. Like you're
trying to
not
think of names that I would still start him over. I'd probably still start him over Shuck. Um, I was gonna maybe Tua, but I think Tua's got a good matchup this week, if I remember correctly. These are the Jets, I think.
yeah,
So,
yes, they're at the Jets, and it's supposed to be good weather too. Well, decent weather
yeah,
for it being December in New York.
gosh, that
Not
might
heavy
be the line,
winds.
right? Yeah, that
That's
might be the line right there.
yeah,
Ugh.
I could see that. But I mean, if it's I mean, like if it's a Bo Nix spot at the Raiders, I'll go there. If it's Jacoby Brissett, I'm slamming the button on Jacoby Brissett over Lamar.
Yeah,
I mean, there are certain limitations here, but yeah, you really gotta take a look and take a look at the mirror spot on this one. Don't be too proud. Lamar's not doing it. The offense ain't doing it. So yeah, but if you guys have any questions or comments, even after this show is done, you want to ask, who to start and who to start over him, we'll help you out with that.
mhm.
Let's go to Swalbo here. Swalbo, I'll call him Swalbo. Let me see this. I'm just checking one of the things here. The New Jersey home of Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo was vandalized with eggs early Saturday morning, according to Moorestown police.
Wow.
Not thrilled with the Black Friday game. So
Apparently not, but
there you go.
gosh, I mean,
Yeah,
for a team that's won the Super Bowl twice in the last what few years or whatever, I mean,
sure.
can you
Go
be a little
10
more
years,
grateful
whatever.
about your team? Yeah, sure. They're not undefeated, but they're still what 8-3, 9-3, and they
They're
just get
also Eagle
booed.
fans.
Yeah, I get
They're
it, and I know that they're
they're a
a
rare breed.
different type of human being and stuff. But like, come on, guys, we can be better than this. And I know that's asking a lot from an Eagles fan, but you can be better. We can all be better.
So now we got Swalbo coming in here. Says, evening fellas, when you get to questions, which we'll get to it right now, is Vele a better option over Matthew Golden? Matthew Golden obviously didn't play this week. Um, Vele had himself a decent week. What would you do here, Rabbit Dad?
I know. I was actually just looking at this last night. A number of guys that I was in that same range of wide receivers I was looking at, and I looked at Bailey, and I'm like, you know what? I could see that going on, and also the fact that, or the potential that we have Jaden Reed back could cut into Golden's opportunities more. I mean, I think with or without Jaden Reed, I think I'm still leaning Bailey over Matthew Golden right now.
Do you think it's a little bit of fool's gold almost with I and I get Matthew Golden, but I mean, if I'm taking a look at this, what do we got here? I'm just pulling up some numbers here. So in 1 week in half point formats, I'm just getting the numbers here. He had God, he scored over 50% of his points in just 1 week of what he had all season. I mean, do we just as easily expect that to be replicated? I mean, they are going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for whatever that's worth for you. So no concerns that it could be a bit of fool's gold, or
I
at
mean,
least does that not make a difference when it's Matthew Golden?
I think it doesn't make a lot of difference. I think really Matthew Golden is more of the fool's gold to me. I mean, basically like a third round talent who got taken in the first round because they were in Green Bay, because Green Bay we needed a wide receiver, because they wanted to do something flashy at the draft. I mean, Golden felt like a horribly overdrafted choice in April. But I think that it's Vele right now. I mean, he's gotten. I mean, yeah, it's 1 week of high production, but at the same time, it's 15 targets in 2 games. That's something to be
Yeah.
noticed.
And I mean, there are 5 teams that have allowed over 2,000 yards of wide receivers. The Buccaneers are on the outside looking in, but not too far away. 1,923. Got to imagine they reached that threshold potentially this week. So yeah, I would actually go with Vele over Matthew Golden as well. But um, Iggy's coming in here and he says, should I be worried about Caleb Williams? Caleb Williams on the Black Friday game. We just referenced that with the Eagles offensive coordinator getting his house done up with some eggs. Only he comes out with 9.5 points. It's his first game with less than double-digit points since week 7 on the season. Do we attribute that to just going up against the Philadelphia Eagles? Or, I mean, this week we've got the Bears are going to be at the Packers. So the weather is probably not going to be much better, but I'll take a look at the forecast. But what are your thoughts there? Caleb Williams, level of concern?
I think it should be pretty considerable. I'm not going to say it's like end of the world concern, but same time, yeah, he struggled to get much done against a good Eagles defense, and now he gets to play in the next 3 games at the Packers versus the Browns versus the Packers. It's not good potentially for your fantasy lineup, especially going into the playoffs. I think you really want to be cautious on him, and if you've got another option, seriously consider it.
Yeah, the forecast for that game is supposed to be around 18 degrees. I guess it's going to feel like 5.
Oh yeah, that sounds
But the
like a
wind's not
normal
going to be too
December.
terrible. Yeah. I mean, what's a little scary here, and I tell you, if you're going to start Caleb Williams, maybe look ahead towards the forecast, because right now it says snow on Saturday. It says snow on Monday. It says no snow on Sunday. I don't know if I buy that. But,
usually when you got a sandwich like that, usually that sandwich compresses quite a bit.
Yeah.
At least around here in Minnesota, Wisconsin area. We know that 2 days, 2 days of snow on a 3-day weekend. No, that turns into all snow.
And we got Jared coming in here, says, good evening, guys. Would you drop Neal for Mason with Jones' injury this week? Which is perfect for you because you are the Vikings guy. So go ahead. I'm gonna throw it to you.
Yeah. Dropping Neal for Mason. I mean, do we know for certain that Jones is going to be out for a significant bit? I can tell you for sure. I did not watch the entire Vikings game because I knew it was going to be painful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll get to that in a second, but yeah.
Yeah. But I think, oh boy, dropping Neal. I mean, he's the guy, but it's for a poor off. It's for like the Saints, who just don't have really much of an offense outside of the passing game.
Sure.
I think I would. I mean, yeah, Xavier Scott's going to get some touches if Jones misses, but he mostly gets them in the passing game, which means that Mason's just going to go right back to, like at 80% of the 80% of the carries out of the backfield, even in a bad game script, which, may or may not be against Washington. So
they are saying that Aaron Jones is day to day. So, I mean, I don't think I'd make that move, to be honest with you. I think I'd hang tight.
I don't love it. Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, I was,
because even when you go,
Vikings soul, my Vikings heart of me says do it, but my fantasy analyst part says maybe hold back, just because that passing game work is not going to go to Mason. It's going to go to Xavier Scott instead, or Xavier Scott. I mean,
Xavier Scott, yeah. Because even when you look at those weeks that he was out, that Aaron Jones was out, and by the way, we're not even saying Aaron Jones is going to be out. He's just day to day. I mean, Jordan Mason, yeah, that in week 3, 23.6 points. After that, 8.7, and then 11.1. I mean, doesn't really scream consistent productivity to me. And then if you've got all this drama going on with the quarterback situation, which again we'll get to in a little bit, I mean, you got to imagine teams are going to stack the box, no?
I mean, yeah, I would think so. Although it also does sound like McCarthy will be out of the protocol, so he'll be back under center. Take that as you will.
No, 1 week of watching Brosmer would,
I'll do it. Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot less haterade flowing on social media for McCarthy after that performance. So
yes, now he comes back like a conquering hero. So, but yeah. So, we'll talk about Justin Jefferson in a little bit. Swalbelt comes back here, says, I felt so hard for Matthew Golden hype, traded him for Tucker Kraft preseason, so I'm charging to just let him go Any news, thoughts on Drake London's status? There's no news yet, and I mean they're not going to give us a ton on Drake London because they don't play until Sunday at 1:00 against the Seattle Seahawks. Game will be in Atlanta, so at least Drake won't have to travel for the game. But I'd imagine as the week goes on, we'll start to hear some stuff. But that's why you keep tuning in. So there you go. Yeah, I listen. Death, taxes, and Green Bay Packer wide receivers not one being the alpha, and it's just a mishmash of just I don't want to be too insulting, but it's like an island of misfit toys. Romeo Dobbs is kind of leading the way right now. Christian Watson finally had a good week, which was shout out to Pete. He said it all Thanksgiving morning. But yeah, so I mean, just don't trust Packer wide receivers anymore. That's it.
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin coming in here, he says, yo, Kevin.
Yo.
Interesting picture. And he says, Jacoby Myers, who we want BTJ to be. I mean, Jacoby Myers did have himself a decent week. If I'm pulling up those numbers, I was looking at them before. 18.3 points. That's after 13 points. Yeah, I mean, I actually think this is kind of interesting because people were asking on the Sunday live show. I wasn't on it, but Pete was on with Chev, and then Thursday we were kind of asked about this. I mean, BTJ, where are we at in your opinion? Is this somebody that we can throw out there, or if we're throwing him out there, are we throwing him out there just on what he was able to do last year?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we put so much draft capital in him and or trade capital if we decided to try and buy him cheap, earlier in the year. Um, I think it's one of those like you kind of got to because there's that upside. At the same time, Myers, he was really really good this last week, stepping in and just what was that 18.3.5 point PPR format. So yeah, it's
I'm just
tough.
looking at this. I'm just I listen. I think Brian Thomas Jr. I feel like of the players that we could talk about, are you going to sit? I feel like he's a player that could be like a landmine where you can go ahead and pick up your foot and think you're okay, and you might find out the hard way that you should have started BTJ. But I mean, I'm looking at this now. I mean, you look at last year, half point formats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games of 10 or more points out of 17 games played. He's got 2 out of 9 right now with 10 points or
Yeah,
more. That's half point
yeah,
scoring.
yeah. That's
Not
that's
great, Bob.
it's rough. And that was
Yeah.
BTJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And in the last 2 weeks, Jacoby's been over 10 in both weeks, and he's got 6 targets in 3 of the last 4 weeks. So the consistency is there. I don't think we'll have like a ceiling like we would with BTJ. So maybe
sure.
I am going to turn it around and say maybe you want to just wait on BTJ. Although I think this is probably the last good matchup he really has for the season going forward. Well, no, they have Indy this week, and then Indy again in championship week, who are both not great against the pass. So.
And does this mean if we've got BTJ playing, even if he's like a ghost ship, he's just floating, and then Jacoby Myers is doing some damage, what do we do with Parker Washington? I mean, 10 points or more in 3 out of his last 5 games, but this past Sunday, 3.1 points. So do we think it's a phase out spot because of Jacoby Myers and BTJ being back and being dead weight? Like, do we stay away from Parker Washington?
Yeah, I've been out on Washington for a few weeks, and I'm totally aware that a couple of those times it was a decent fantasy performance, but I think it's just way too hit and miss. I mean, if you got BTJ and Jacoby both in there, I think they're both going to command more targets, and you're going to see Washington just more of like a huck it downfield, and maybe turn it into a 30+ yard catch. But how many of those is he going to have in a game? 1, 2. So yeah, I'm totally out on Parker.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, Parker did have the same target percentage that Brian Thomas Jr. had, but Brian Thomas Jr. caught 13%, had 13% receptions, and Parker Washington had just 6. So also not getting it done when he's getting the opportunity. So whatever. Don't love that either. Let's we got Greg coming in here and saying hello, fellas. Oh, well, he needs 20 from me. We'll get the Frosty in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Greg saying hello, fellas. Hello, Greg.
Hello,
Greg,
Greg.
one of our more loyal listeners. But yeah, Frosty's coming in here, says he needs 20 from Drake May. I mean, on the surface, I have to think that's got a pretty solid shot to happen, no?
I mean, is it 4-point or is it 6-point? That's the
That's
question.
it's a good question, Frosty.
If it's 6-point, it's guaranteed. If it's 4-point, I'd say 60% chance.
He actually hasn't, Drake May at least yet, and I believe this is 4-point per passing touchdown, hasn't had a 20-point game since week 8. I mean, not to say that he was terrible, but it was 16.4, 18.1, 15.4, and then 16 the last 4 weeks. The 3 weeks prior to that stretch of games, he had 20 points in all 3 games. So, I mean, I think you could do that against the Giants. I don't think it's unreasonable. The weather's not supposed to be terrible. So, what
He's
we
got
got
that
here?
ability to run the ball too, so there's that. That gives you a little bit of a floor.
Yeah, a little bit of sneaky upside. At We Buy Homes Near You says need those playoff kicker rankings. Yes, the week 14 kicker rankings will be dropping probably this evening, and then the playoff won't be too far behind it. It'll either be first thing tomorrow morning or just a little bit later in the day. But those playoff kicker rankings are coming. I know people need to know. I will just tell you, Fairbairn will be high because all 3 of his games in the fantasy football playoffs are indoors. So this way you don't have to worry about the weather. So, and he gets plenty of opportunities there in Houston to kick field goals. That's a little tease. Frosty 126 came back in here. What happened to BTJ and Dunze? I mean, BTJ got hurt too much. I mean, can we say Odunze is ever really like a thing, a consistent thing?
I mean, consistent, I don't think we can say. I mean, he started off the season on fire.
Sure.
What did he have? 6 catches in the first game, then 7 for 128, 3 for 62, 4 for 69. And then since then has twice beaten 55 receiving yards in a game. I mean, it's just, he started out really hot. And, granted, there was also some weaker matchups earlier in the season. Detroit, Dallas, Las Vegas, Washington. Yeah, I think it's just been growing pains for him. But yeah, with BTJ, you hit it pretty hard on the head. It's he just can't stay healthy. He hasn't been able to this year. Hopefully, that's something he'll right in the future, and we can get back to Brian Thomas we remember and love from 2024.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice. I mean, yeah, you're looking at that. What 81.6 points in his first 4 games prior to their bye. The last 3 weeks, 5.1, 6.8, 1.8. So that's not going to do it.
No,
And then at We Buy Homes Near You says McPherson went crazy. McPherson did go crazy. 20 points from a kicker, not too shabby. He is, though, based on matchup, he's just outside my top 12 this week. But I mean, you can put him back out there. But so people hear outside top 12 and they think it's a death sentence. But you got to remember, kickers' scores tend to be a little jumbled.
mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. Frosty said, would you start Manungai over Pittman? So, Ben, I'll kick this one to you. I'll just say for the people listening or watching, by the way, feel free to like the show. Michael Pittman will be going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did have a disappointing game. And then Manungai with the Bears they're going to be at Green Bay, which we mentioned earlier, talking about Caleb Williams. But what says you, Ben? Which one of those names would you prefer?
I know I would absolutely prefer Pittman, but always a but here. Both of them have tough schedules coming up. I mean, we've gone over with we know the Bears are playing the Packers twice in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
we've got the Colts are playing against Jacksonville, not an easy defense. Then they get Seattle the week after. I think the last couple of weeks also kind of says something to us. The last 3 games for the Colts, Pittman's got one game of those three with more than 2 catches, and it's been against tougher opponents: Atlanta, Kansas City, Houston. I think in another similar kind of defensive situation where passing is going to be a little trickier, it lowers the floor on Pittman. And with as good as the Bears look offensively the last few weeks, I actually probably would go Monangai over Pittman.
I think I'd go Monangai too. I mean, that's what I was thinking when I first read the question. I mean, I think I'd go that way as well. So I'm with you.
Yeah, I had to pull up the schedule just to verify what I was thinking, because I was thinking Pittman at first, and I came back around and like, no, I think I'd go Monangai this week.
Yeah, the Bears this week have the 9th easiest schedule. Going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Take that for what you will, but yeah. No, yeah, I think I'd go Monangai there in that spot. Yeah. Which does sound weird. Zach Linton coming in here and saying, what's up, fam? Of course. What's up, man? And Drake May over 20 points. Let's go. So all right. So Zach's a believer.
Hey, I'm hoping for it too.
Yeah. Listen, I'll say this. I mean, I'm not hating on this game tonight. The New York Football Giants are one of the more eventful teams to have like little to no wins. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are.
Zach wants to know, how are the studs and duds? Yeah, we'll go through some of that now. Again, if you guys have any questions, you guys can feel free to ask away. I will just ask you to feel free to hit the like button. Yeah, listen, let's get to Justin Jefferson. We talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson. I know you are a Vikings guy. I mean, I feel like we've gone through this kind of in stages. The last few weeks was just kind of, do I start this guy over Justin Jefferson? And it's so hard to say, don't play Justin Jefferson, but it's also so hard to look at his last 4 games here. Half point formats: 5.7, 8.6, 6.8, 1.4. That's not what you wanted when you drafted Justin Jefferson in the first round of your fantasy football drafts. There's no way he escaped the first round. So if you have him, you're riding and dying with the guy. But I mean, Ben, how do you approach this? You're the Vikings guy. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel for these last few weeks? I'll pull up the strength of schedule while you talk for the Packers wide receivers. But
strength of schedule is the big key here. It's the biggest thing of all. Now, we don't know for certain who's going to play quarterback this week. It's probably going to be JJ again. Max Brosmer, love the guy. He was not ready for that experience against that defense. Why not? Coming up schedule is beautiful for fantasy wide receivers. Washington, Dallas, the Giants, and the Lions, all in the top 10 of points allowed to wide receivers in half point scoring formats. If JJ can just put up a decent game or a below average game, Jefferson will have the ability to turn nothing into something. I mean, dude only needs to average like 41 yards a catch to continue averaging 1,000 yards a season over his career. I mean, he can get it done, and I really do think he will.
Anything to, because like I see this here. You're right. The strength of schedule the rest of the way looks incredible. He did just get out of playing Green Bay and Seattle, but prior to that, I mean, in those other 2 weeks where he came up lame, less than 10 points, he did play Baltimore. He did play Chicago, which give up a lot of points to wide receivers. But you're still with that. You still believe he can bust out of there?
I do believe he can, and I think the Baltimore game is a little misleading due to the fact that they were injured so horribly on defense for so long. That was the first game of the season they had everybody back healthy on defense, and they just, it's really swayed their rankings. I mean, they're sitting at 11th and a half point PR setting for points against against wide receivers. And it's like a couple of years ago when we saw Denver as the matchup everybody wanted to target because they gave up 70 points in like week 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that kind of situation. So that one, going after that, I mean, we had Chicago with, the game where not only was McCarthy missing throws, but nobody could catch the ball. Green Bay and Seattle, we fell way behind really fast, and we had potentially injured McCarthy in that first one, and we had Brosmer with literally no experience in the second one. I'm positive that there will be positive regression for Justin Jefferson over the remaining 4 weeks of the fantasy season.
All right. I don't hate it. But, I expected to just hear a, no, sit him, forget it, party's over. But all right, I appreciate you leaning in there. And listen, I also think, and we'll go through this as the week goes on. If somebody has a really tough, and I don't know if there's a name that comes to your mind. I don't want to put a gun to your head on that spot. If there was a name that you would consider doing player A over Justin Jefferson, or if you're saying no matter what, is there a limit to you saying put him out there?
I mean, I would have to look through it, but I think there could potentially. But I don't think it's anything ridiculous. Like, oh, okay, give me the top 5 wide receivers in the league over Jefferson and nobody else. It's not that absurd, but it's also not like name 30 wide receivers and I'd start them all over Jefferson. No, it's somewhere in between there. But again, I'd have to look, and it's probably closer to maybe there's like a dozen, 15 guys that I would potentially start over Jefferson. But again, I'd have to look into it a little more in depth.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm saying that's something as you guys watch, or if you guys are on X and you follow us, it'll be a evolving thing throughout the week. Tingley says, should I pick up Godwin's or Evans? I did want to bring this up because they did hint that Mike Evans might be able to start practicing soon. Godwin came out this week. He did outscore Emeka Ibuka, but I mean the targets were relatively the same. They weren't incredibly far off. I'll pull up some stuff on that in a second. But Ben, if that's you, if you want to go with one of these wide receivers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, let's assume Mike Evans is back, he's ready to go, yada yada. I know it's Monday. We just heard he might start practicing, so grain of salt spot. But which wide receiver would you go with?
I mean, if for this week, if you're like in a situation where it's like I need some points, I need to get a win, keep my playoff dreams alive, it's not Evans. I really don't think there's much chance that he does come back this week.
Okay.
That said, I mean, Godwin, he looked all right this last week, but he looked granted, and coming right off of injury or whatever, he just did not look like the same player the week before. So I wonder which one is going to be, or I wonder if what kind of Godwin we're going to see the rest of the year. If we're going to see, the guy who averaged 25 yards a catch yesterday, or the guy who averaged 5 yards a catch the week before. I think for now it's Godwin over Evans. But if we do get some kind of clarity that says, Evans is coming back, I might change my thought process on that.
Yeah, if Evans is back, I'm just saying, perfect world. If I know I have my choice of Godwin or Mike Evans this week and moving on, I'm going Mike Evans just because I feel more likely to get a touchdown. You're going to probably get more yards per catch with Godwin than you will with Evans. I'd give Godwin that. I mean, Godwin did have a 31-yard reception yesterday. But yeah, if all things were equal, I'd go Evans. But again, we just heard that he might be starting to practice soon. So definite grain of salt spot. But Tingley, that's where I'd go. I will just quickly ask you, he's got a quarterback question. We'll do that. But any concern about Emeka Ibuka, with these returning wide receivers? I mean, he's been getting targets the last 3 weeks, 9 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets, but he's not reeling them in. He's had at most 5 catches. He had 5 in week 11, 3 in week 12, 4 in week 13, and hasn't scored 7 points in the last 3 weeks. I mean, do you have a level of concern there with him, or is that somebody you continue to trot out there?
I think I would continue to trot him out there. Now, if we do get to the situation where all 3 of them are active and healthy at 100% again, then maybe we want to take a step back. But I think that he's shown enough and that Baker has, seen enough what he can do and has enough trust in him that he would continue to utilize Egbuka going forward. I just feel like he took that extra step up earlier than he needed to, and he did it well. And he's looked really good on this for the majority of the season, even though the catches have been a little wanting these last few weeks. I think it's more of a like if we got 100% Baker, I think we got 100% of anybody on the wide receiver core for Tampa.
And then Tingley coming in with one more. He says, well, there's actually another one later, but 4 points per passing touchdown. Baker Mayfield or Jackson Dart rest of season. So we'll keep it with the Buccaneers and also bleed into Monday Night Football tonight. Drop one or keep both. I would say if you can keep both, I would keep both because I think Dart in certain weeks has better matchups than Baker rest of the way. But you also have to deal with Dart missing next week. We said at the top of the show, the Giants are one of those teams, and you'd got to worry about injuries. But Ben, do you have a different answer there? Would you try and hold on to both? Would you do one? And if so, who?
I think both is the right way to go if you can do that. You're gonna get this week, this coming week. You'll have Baker to use. You'll have him to use the next week when they play Washington, and then the schedule gets a little tougher for them. Granted, it's not a lot easier for Giants after that, but they do get the Vikings in week 16 and the Raiders the following week. So I kind of like that matchup. So I think it's a good, Baker, Dart play for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. We've got Steven coming in here. Says, do we trust Troy Franklin moving forward? I mean, our own Pete Nova was very excited about Troy Franklin. He actually got me to buy into it. I mean, I am a grown man. I can make my own decisions, but he did kind of sell me on the Troy Franklin bit. I mean, he has been getting a lot of targets, but this past week he put up 3.1 points, which was his lowest since week 6 when he had 1.6. So he did go on a little bit of a run there prior to this past game. He did have 4 out of 5 games. He scored at least 10 points. But Troy Franklin, is this a blip on the radar spot here in week 13? Do you expect more rest of the way or what?
I think it's a blip. I've also been bought into Franklin more than I did at the beginning of the year, and a significant part due to Pete.
Sure.
Before last week's game, he had 8 or more targets and 4 or more catches in 4 straight games. He's looked solid. He's looked good. It felt like that first year of basically doing nothing really helped him kind of watch the game and to learn from the sidelines, and now he's able to get on the field and produce it. But yeah, I think it's just a blip on the radar. I think we've got some good weeks coming ahead. He's got Vegas this week, so that's always promising.
Yeah, no, I do think there are better days ahead, and I think with a lot of these questions, it's also going to be if you're talking about trusting him, who are you trusting over him? That's always kind of the next question because it's always got to be one or the other. But if I'm looking, let me see that I had said what was that he had that last game. So from week 7 to week 11 was when he was doing a lot of double-digit points. If I'm pulling that up here in terms of his target share over that time, I mean, you're looking at Troy Franklin, 26% of targets to Cortland Sutton's 20. So he was getting a lot of targets during that time span. Then they had the week 12 bye, and then this past week, you go ahead and look, and I mean, Troy Franklin, for whatever reason, drops down to 7%. So yeah, I think it's kind of a blip. I think it's just a matter of targets. So yeah, I would still trust Troy Franklin. It's just a matter of do you have an opportunity to get somebody better. Albert says, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Albert?" Tingley did come in with one more, as I said he would. Which is, by the way, you're more than welcome to come in with as many as you want, Tingley. Which one or two of these tight ends to keep? Gadsden, Juwan Johnson, Schultz, and Brenton Strange, PPR, no premium tight end. So, all right, let's do it this way. Pretend you're picking one, and then if you had to pick a second one, who would it be? So I'll pitch this to you, Ben. Which of these tight ends is most appealing to you?
I mean, it shouldn't come as really a shock to anybody who's been paying attention to me on social media, whatnot, all year. It's Brenton Strange is my guy. Uh,
Mm,
he's
yeah.
absolutely been something special when he's been on the field. Before this last week, because I didn't do the math on it yet, after his 5 catch, 93-yard game, he would have been on pace for a 17 game pace of like 960 yards and just under 100 receptions. I mean, right up there. He's gotten 6 receptions, 90 yards, or a touchdown in 4 straight complete games. He is the guy. He is the guy that's moving up into the upper echelons of the tight ends. I'm not saying he's the next Trey McBride or the next, Antonio Gates or whatever, but he's going to be a long-term like contender for like top 5 consideration going forward, and not just this year, like going forward in his career. He's got what it takes as a former second-round pick in the NFL draft, and he's on an offense that needs to get off those short yardage passes because we've already talked about BTJ isn't staying healthy. Parker Washington's a deep guy. Jacoby Myers, just basically kind of still new to the team. He's absolutely necessary. And his schedule coming up is also nice. I mean, he's got a really good matchup this week against the Colts too. So it's Brenton Strange for me, and I don't even need to think about it. I probably talked too much about it, actually.
No, you didn't talk enough for me because I love me some Brenton Strange too. I mean, you go back, I had said a lot during the offseason. If you go back to the way in which Mr. Duval himself was utilizing tight ends in Tampa Bay, Kate Otten had a great year last year because he had a ton of targets. So yeah, I think that's the case here. Yeah, I did notice the schedule too. So I agree with you on the Brenton Strange. If I had to keep a tight end after that, I think I go Gadsden there potentially.
I mean,
With
Gadsden's
Juwan
the
Johnson.
upside play, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and then after that, probably Juwan Johnson. I mean, these are all solid options.
Yeah. Johnson's one of those guys, Juwan Johnson, who just like seems to pop up on the fantasy radar almost at the end of the season almost every year. I think the one exception was last year, but the 2 years before, I think he has like 6 touchdowns over the last 3 games of each season, 3 or 4 games of each of those last 2 seasons. So he's always seemed to turn it on at the end. But Dalton Schultz has been really, really consistent as well. So I'd probably actually
Sure.
put him just above Juwan, and if you just need a floor play, maybe just above Gadsden.
All right. Well, there you go, Iggy. So Tingley, not Iggy. Iggy's at the bottom of the question. That's why I said his name. But we got Impartial General Gaming. I think I said that right. If I didn't, it's okay. He said he traded Aaron Jones, Romadudze, Quinton Johnston for Josh Jacobs. Thoughts? I mean, I'll take this first. I'll say initially, not knowing your wide receivers, I think it's a good trade. We did mention that Aaron Jones is day to day with a shoulder injury. Those wide receivers aren't at least consistently giving you numbers. I have to imagine you have better wide receivers to start than those names. So with that assumption, I would say this is a good trade. I would say I like this trade. Ben, what says you on this trade? Oh,
I
and
think
he
this.
did follow up. He says he has CD Lamb and he has Rashee Rice.
Okay. I think this is a textbook example of getting your trade partners drunk before you send them a trade, because that's kind of what this feels like. And even with Josh Jacobs, missing a couple weeks ago, and then still giving enough touches to Emmanuel Wilson, I think this is a smash win trade for you. Unless we're talking like dynasty, in which case, then I'm sorry, you messed up.
Sure. The Lions, by the way, have just placed Frank Ragnow back on the NFL's retired list. So, for those who
Yeah.
didn't know, he did wind up failing his physical. That's not sure how we didn't know that he was going to fail his physical if you're in the room with those guys, but whatever. Jared Fortin, 6944. Hey guys, miss your what's that? So
Response.
my question dropped. The drop Neil from Mason. I wouldn't do it. And I think Ben, you agreed with me, right?
Yeah, I came around and said, I think I'm just holding on to Neil.
Yeah, I think Neil is somebody who can give you some late season push here. He did have a nice little week last week. And yeah, I don't trust Jordan Mason a lot. It's hard to trust this Vikings offense, period. All due respect, Ben. Sorry. But I just
No, I get it. It's not working out as well as we had all hoped. Having missing part of the offensive line and having an undrafted rookie quarterback under center, like, yeah.
And listen, we're also at the point too when we're talking about trusting a team. Like I mentioned earlier, like we're headed to the playoffs here. For a lot of leagues, week 14 is the final week to get into the playoffs. And then if anybody plays fantasy football playoffs in week 18, quit that league, make a new league, and don't do a championship in week 18.
No.
That being said, I mean, we're heading towards nut cutting time. So, yeah, it's hard to trust. So we would hang on to Neil, Jared, and appreciate you checking back in. Iggy came in here thinking about Stroud, T-Law, or Tyrod for the fantasy playoffs. He hates Caleb Williams' schedule. Well, let's pull this up. Because if you're hating Caleb Williams,
he does have Packers twice in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, which he's got the Packers in week 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Packers in 14 and 16. So it's like, I mean, I really don't like his schedule over the next. I can't remember who the team in the middle was, and I know we looked at it earlier, but it's not good. It's really rough. So I think having another option is a good idea. And looking at those names you brought up, I actually like Tyrod Taylor. Like the Jets play versus Miami, at Jacksonville, and at New Orleans over the next 3 weeks. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you that team sandwich between Green Bay was Cleveland.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, they're at San Francisco for week 17, which isn't terrible for the Bears. For Caleb Williams and the Bears. But I would remind you, the Niners have now had back-to-back weeks of allowing less than 10 total points to their opponent. Not sure if that's going to become consistent, though, because the Niners have trouble tackling and staying healthy. But all right, so I agree with you in terms of the Tyrod spot. Can we make a case for CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence, or are we not interested in that?
I mean, I think you could make one still for Lawrence. I mean, yeah, Stroud's got Nico to throw to, and Schultz has been consistent, but he's not been consistent when he's been in there, and not really neither has Lawrence. But they've got some fire in their belly. They just had a big win. They're right there in the playoff hunt and the divisional hunt. So I think Lawrence over Stroud, but I'm thinking Tyrod over all three of them. I might even just straight up drop Caleb Williams. Hope one of your opponents picks him up and thinks their own fantasy team with him.
If you have room to hang on to two quarterbacks, then I would go Tyrod and T-Law. But if I had to pick, this sounds disgusting. Yeah, I think I go Tyrod there, and that's fucking gross. I don't like that. So, but yeah. All right. There you go. We're in lockstep,
still got wheels to get it done on the ground too, so you got a little bit of a floor there.
That is true. Jared says, I know it's early, but Dak versus Lions on Thursday or Burrow versus the Bills. I have Jamar. I want to I want to double check the weather. That game's at 1:00 at Buffalo, that being the Bengals and the Bills. But Ben, I'll let you kick in here really quick as I'm scrolling. Wednesday, Tuesday. Give me the weather. Why is it so hard?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Well, that's actually a really, really good question. I was just also pulling up some information I've got here real quick. I mean, yeah, Dak against Detroit. Detroit is still giving up plenty of passing yards. They're still, but they're still a high scoring team, which that's kind of like the wet dream for when you have a Cowboys player. You want them to have an offense that's going to score a lot of points against them too.
Sure.
But then you got the Burrow Jamar stack, which is just so attractive.
And the weather, by the way, just going to be mostly cloudy and cold. The wind's not going to be terrible on Sunday. So there's no snow, or there's snow on Saturday in the forecast, but nothing on Sunday.
I say go Dak and go with the psychological play. So show your opponent you've got a big lead coming out of Thursday night.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Dak too. I know I was pressing a lot of people when Burrow was coming back from injury last week. I was saying you start him over basically everybody near and dear to your heart. You know, you're starting Burrow over them. But yeah, in this case, I mean, the way Dallas is playing right now, and I know a lot of it has to do defensively ever since I got Quinnen Williams and how that's worked out. But I think I lean Dak here as well, personally. So, but all right. So we're all out of questions now. We're at the 50-minute mark. I mean, Ben, was there anything else you think that we didn't get to here or something that you wanted to bring up? I mean, I'm trying to pull up some other stuff, but was there anything else on your I mean we got to the quarterback situation with Minnesota. We got to Justin Jefferson. Is there anything else you think we're missing out on?
I mean, I know people like Pete will tell you, make sure you go, if you've got room on your roster, go pick up your defense for the following week. Also, it's handcuff season. So grab guys like Blake Corum, grab guys like Bam Knight to back up whoever you have at running back, just because when the other guy in front of them goes down, if he goes down, they
Right.
fall into a big workload. So that's just, you want to have that going forward. Not even just your own handcuffs. Like if somebody else has Kyron Williams, fine. You go get Corum before they do.
That's fair. But Kyron did go down yesterday with an injury in the second quarter, did come back in the game. Still wound up, playing well, but and they say it's
Career
not
high
supposed to be
81
serious.
yards
So
for Corum yesterday.
yeah, yes, yep. We are getting asked on the way out. I know Pete's our defensive guy, and I'll say our defensive streamer video is coming out this week. But Cleveland or the Rams, keep one of them, and I assume he means rest of the way. I mean, if I'm keeping one rest of the way, I'm good. I'm probably gonna stick with the Browns, to be honest with you. I mean, do you take the Rams over the Browns?
You know what? I think I might actually take the Rams. I'm just double checking schedule wise. So Browns got Tennessee, Chicago, and Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh to finish out the fantasy season. Dun, dun, dun. The Rams. God, they've got so many huge playmakers on defense. Guys like Jared Verse just scare me in my
Jared
they give me
versus a
nightmares.
beast.
He's absolute beast. He's like the next Garrett, Miles Garrett. So they got Arizona this week, then Detroit, Seattle, and Atlanta.
Both schedules aren't too far off in terms of strength of schedule.
No. Yeah,
The
they're
two
really
of them.
not.
I'm going to stick with the Browns on this one.
I think you keep them if you got room, take them both. That keeps them away from one of your opponents. It just gives them a harder chance of being able to field that position well. And I mean, yeah, it's really hard to choose between the two because they're both great defenses. They both got similar matchups going forward. Yeah, I'd say if you can hold on to both, keep both. But I am going to say Rams over Browns personally, but like 52 to 48%.
All right. Just taking a look at one other thing here. Yeah. No, I'm just reading a bunch of rumors online here. Anyway, just because Chad Johnson keeps nominating himself to be the wide receiver coach for LSU, offering to relocate as well. How kind of him! But
what a nice
with
guy.
that said, I think that's it for today's show. I think we got through a bunch of injuries. We got through who you can trust, who you can't trust. I will tell you guys, we got a lot of content coming out the rest of this week. But Ben, anything else to say before we ride off into the sunset today?
Well, as a Vikings fan, just want to throw out my heartfelt love and respect and admiration for Adam Thielen, who requested his release today and was granted it. So hopefully going forward, he'll find a spot on a team that can, make a run to the championship, and he can, bring another ring home to Minnesota that doesn't go on to our team mantle.
You sounded so enthusiastic the way you just finished that up.
I know it's hard because it seems like it's with every time somebody leaves, they find a place and they go and get a championship. KG did it back in the day with in the NBA, and all those guys. But
Jared did come in here. We'll scoop this up. He said, would you drop Jacoby Brissett for Brenton Strange to back up Trey McBride? He has Dak and Burrow. I mean, you've got an embarrassment of riches at quarterback. I guess, given that you have the two of them, I would make that ad drop. Yes.
yeah, no, I would do that too. Yeah, there's no reason to have Brissett if you got Dak and Burrow.
Right. And I mean, they did say they're not opening the practice window for Kyler Murray, which is not a surprise. This is Jacoby's team for the rest of the year. And honest to God, I wouldn't be stunned if Jacoby is starting there next year. I would not be stunned.
I could see it very much happening, and I could see, I could see Kyler Murray getting cut and winding up on a team like Minnesota.
Oof. How do you feel about that?
Well, maybe it has somebody else I can play Call of Duty with.
There you go. That's it. There you go. Bright side. There you go.
I know. I got to work on my Call of Duty anyways. I suck at everything that's not zombies.
That's the spirit. All right. Well, that seems like a perfect way to end the show. He meant to say he's also good at fantasy football and tight ends.
Yeah.
He meant to say that. Yes. So
yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
But all right. So that'll do it for today's show. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to fire it into the chat. We'll happily get back to you guys. But until next time, stay thirsty, be kind to one another. We'll catch you on the flip side, and cheers.